it's not going to be okay. Israel himself, Dr. Israel, he was actually a doctor. I don't remember if he lost his medical license. What is his first name again? I forgot what his first name was. Let me see. Let's see what happened to him. Where is his name? What's his first name? Matthew Israel. Boy, that's not a generic name at all. Okay, let's see what happened here. Oh, he has a Wikipedia page. That's probably good or bad. Okay, boom. Okay. Matthew Israel is an American behavioral psychologist who is oh my God, he founded the JRC and he invented the graduated electronic decelerator, or the electric shock device. Are you kidding me? As a freshman in college, Israel read B.F. Skinner's novel Walden 2, in which the heroes build a utopia by conditioning residents of a commune through the behaviorist principles of reward and punishment. Israel said that reading Walden 2 was like a religious conversion for him, and after reading the book, he devoted himself to making the utopia described in it a reality. This man is shocking people because of a book? This whole treatment is based off of the fact that this dude got obsessed with utopia, with the idea of having a utopia and calling it a religious conversion. Oh no. He's apparently obsessed with this fucking book too. Oh my God. He literally is modeling everything in JRC after this fucking book to build a utopia of perfect people, essentially. Which means that in his mind, for him, electric shock therapy is not torture, because it means that he's doing the world a service by electrically shocking people that he sees as lesser than, because they have to be lesser than because they're not perfect to fit into his utopia, because he has to fix them. There's air quotes around that. Fix them. How come I didn't run into this originally? What the fuck is wrong with me? I guess I didn't focus on him enough, but I regret looking on this Wikipedia page right now. How do we as like a government say like, hey, this dude was really obsessed with a book, so he created an electric shock device and we're going to let him do it again. So he was enrolled in Harvard University. That's apparently where he's got his degree from. So he graduated from Harvard in 1960. He started a firm for the design and marketing of B.F. Skinner's teaching machines. What did he graduate with? It doesn't say what he graduated with. I'm sorry, hold on. What is this fucking sentence? Hold on, did you guys see this? In a correspondence with a couple named Dan and Marnie who were interested in the project, the Walden 2 project, Israel suggested that Marnie would be expected to have sex with him if they joined the commune. So this dude really wanted to make a cult, and he couldn't, so he settled on electroshocking autistic kids. That's where we're at right now. And Autism Speaks endorsed this center, and probably quietly endorses the center to this day. Whoo, this is, hold on, what is this? In 1967, Israel tried for the first time to build a utopian commune modeled after Walden 2 by starting a small communal house in Arlington. One resident at the Arlington house was a 3-year-old girl that was poorly behaved. Oh no. No. I don't want to read the rest of this. Oh my God. The girl's mother agreed to let Israel try to modify her behavior. A 3-year-old, by the way. He described the use of positive reinforcement, timeout, and physical punishment to a 3-year-old. Israel reports that he did not see significant changes in her behavior until he disciplined her with physical punishment in the form of a slap across the face. He fucking slapped a 3-year-old in the face. And we let this man be a fucking doctor? Welcome to hell in this fucking stream, guys. There's nothing positive going on. This is not okay. Oh my gosh. He also noticed that using a physical punishment, he could make her stop crying. After working with her from some time, Israel reported he can control the child's behavior with just a glance or a shake of the head. That's from fear, honey. That's from fear. The child hasn't learned. The child's afraid of being hurt, afraid of feeling pain. Oh my God. From that point on, Israel said, instead of being an annoyance, she became a charming addition, a charming individual to the house. This is what parents trust when they send their kids to this place, to the JRC. This is the man that founded it. These are his beliefs, and these are things he did. Oh my God. Okay, so now the Behavior Research Institute is what changed its name to become the Judge Rotenberg Center. Oh my God. So let's see here. It looks like in 1977, the California Department of Health rejected Israel's application for a license to operate a group home, citing lack of meaningful peer review and unnecessary use of painful adversives. So California pretty much said, you can't run a group home like this because you're abusing people, because you are using unnecessary, painful methods. But apparently fucking Massachusetts, Canton, Massachusetts, where the JRC still is to this day, said, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you can totally hurt them. Furthermore, the department found that Israel was unlawfully practicing psychology without a license in the state of California. Without a license to operate, the school was scheduled to shut down. But the day after the scheduled shutdown, a group of parents reopened it as a co-op, moving Israel's official position of executive director to consultant. The school then applied for a license from the state of California to operate a group home and for a permit to use adversives. Then, with the aid of then California Governor Pat Brown, they received the license, as well as the only permit ever granted by the state of California to use physical pain on its students. That's a lot to unpack. That is a lot to unpack. So California was like, well, you don't have a license, so you can't do this. But now he's not operating a psychology thing. Now it's just a group home and he's just a consultant. Oh, that's fine. What? Listen in this direct quote here. No matter how big, how old, how disgusting the student, we won't say no. Imagine that being your viewpoint as a consultant, right? That you view your students or whatever as disgusting. Okay, now the use of aversive conditioning is not a medically accepted treatment for self-harm or aggression. Well, apparently it's medically accepted again. So Wikipedia is going to have to update that because as of the 7th of this fucking month, it became okay again. The medically accepted treatment for these and other concerning behaviors is functional analysis, which is not practiced at the JRC. Unfucking surprising. Wow, does this thing work? No, we're not going to do that. As better positive support behavior interventions have been developed, it is more and more frequently viewed as unethical to use these to the use of aversives. I cannot say that word. Oh my God. To modify behavior in children and adults with disabilities. Oh my God. In the utopia described in Walden 2, the children learn impulse control by taking electric shocks. The act of learning to tolerate more and more painful shocks provides them with the ability to control their impulses. There's literally all the evidence in the world that says, don't do this. This is bad. He really did just want a cult, or I don't know what he wanted. He just wanted control. I think this man ultimately wanted control. I think this is all about control. He probably, and I'm going to have my own non-professional psychological moment here. It sounds like he probably grew up not having control in his life, and he went to school, he felt enlightened by a fucking book, and decided to spend the rest of his life promoting ways to find ways to legally torture children and guise it under being a treatment, an effective medical treatment, when all it really is control, negative reinforcement and control. So here's some additional aversives or negative reinforcement techniques that they use in JRC. Besides the electroshock, contingent food programs, long-term restraints, sensory deprivation, and of course the electric shocks. So for context to those things, contingent food programs, that literally is depriving someone of the right to eat. If you don't do what we say, you don't get dinner. That's what that is. If long-term restraints, it is simply what it sounds like. Physically restraining someone for prolonged periods of time. And sensory deprivation, not allowing someone to have function of, maybe if it's eyes from being blindfolded, touch from being maybe restrained and unable to feel things, maybe for soundproof headphones or something on the ears or something like that. That's that. And then the GED shocks are literally strapping down a kid and shocking them for doing something you didn't like. And Riker here is right. As part of the problem is that this isn't well known. Parents are lied to, told the shocks aren't as bad as static electricity, and used as a last resort. So parents often don't know what is actually happening, especially because they're not allowed to be present for such treatment either. So in the video that resurfaced in 2011, they mention it here. JRC staff tied an autistic boy face down to a 4-point board and shocked him 31 times at the highest amperage setting. The first shock was given for failing to take off his coat, and when asked, and the remaining 30 shocks were given for screaming and tensing up while being shocked. The boy was later hospitalized with 3rd-degree burns and acute stress disorder, but no action was taken against any of the staff, and neither the law nor JRC policy had been broken. In a separate incident, 2 residents were awoken from their beds at night, restrained and shocked 77 and 29 times respectively on the false allegation that they had misbehaved. The center's founder, Matthew Israel, was indicted on criminal charges for ordering a video of the incident destroyed and was forced to resign his position at the JRC as part of a plea deal to avoid prosecution. And the reason, partially why he was being indicted, was because he tried to destroy evidence of misdeeds happening. That tells a lot about what's going on in there. Imagine the other videos that probably were successfully destroyed, because that's what I think about. Is if you've already done this once and you got caught, chances are you probably had done it in the past and didn't get caught. If we aren't aware in the forefront of our minds why this is wrong, then people may just brush it under the rug. Yeah, here's this again. Reasons why people were shocked. Just is if you were failing to be neat, wrapping your foot around the leg of a chair, stopping work for more than 10 seconds, closing your eyes for more than 5 seconds, minor acts of non-compliance, or using the bathroom without permission, urinating on yourself after being refused the right to go to the restroom, screaming while being shocked, or attempting to move the electronic device. All reasons why you could have been shocked. This is something the JRC has done, and now that it's overturned, they probably will do very soon to people who do not deserve it. This is horrific. So let's listen to this testimony right here. Greg Miller, a former teacher's assistant at the JRC, reported that staff were expected to administer shocks without consideration for the circumstances in which it occurred. Staff were monitored by cameras and feared losing their jobs if they refused to deliver the expected shocks. There were no exceptions, he said. We had to follow court-approved orders. Residents were made to wear the GED devices at all hours, even during showers and sleep. Residents report that they were sometimes awoken by shocks in the night, which were administered for reasons including nighttime incontinence, tensing up while asleep, while fucking unconscious, getting shocked for being unconscious incorrectly, like what the fuck, and having broken a rule earlier in that day. One resident reported that after being shocked while asleep, staff would not explain to her why she was shocked. After the incident, the fear of being shocked in her sleep produced extreme insomnia. No bad things would happen. That's why she has extreme insomnia, right? Is because nothing bad happened. Here's some of these other things that they do to you. We'll go over that a little bit as well. Because this center, it's now I believe that these bad things are still happening. It's just the electroshocks that like the electric shock stopped, but all these other things I believe were still allowed to continue. So for the crime of being autistic, depressed, suffering from a lot of trauma or having PTSD, things that could still happen to you apparently. In the contingent food program, a resident's food is withheld to be used as a reward for good behavior. If a resident fails to meet all the goals laid out for them by the JRC each meal, they are made to discard the excess food not earned. If a resident fails to meet their daily minimum calorie intake, which may be as little as 20% of their prescribed calories, non-preferred makeup food is dispensed to them to bring them up to minimum. Non-preferred food is designed to be noxious so as to punish the resident. For example, it may be mashed up and sprinkled with liver powder. A 2006 investigation of the JRC concluded that the contingent food program posed an unnecessary risk to the students' growth and development. So apparently that stopped in 2006, so my bad. That one did stop. Let's go over sensory deprivation. A common sensory deprivation punishment involves forcing a resident to wear a helmet that restricts vision and hearing through the use of white noise for an extended period of time. The resident may also be restrained and subjected to other aversives during this time. In 1981, a resident died of asphyxiation during this procedure. The punishment continues to be used. At least one resident was subjected to a procedure called isolation deprivation, in which he was restrained by the wrists and ankles for 24 hours and boxes were stacked as to prevent him from seeing anything in the room. During this time, he received only lettuce with mayonnaise to eat. On some occasions, he was not allowed to use the bathroom and was forced to soil his pants. Furthermore, staff were directed to pinch his feet once per hour and spray him with water whenever they walked by. This is still allowed. That was never stopped. Let's go to movement limitation, shall we? The use of long-term restraints is common at the JRC. Many residents are required to carry their own restraint bags, which contains the materials required to restrain them. Commonly used restraints include the 4-point board and the 5-point restraint chair. Restraints may be used alone or in combination with other aversives to hurt residents. For example, one resident's behavior plan specified he was to receive 5 GED shocks while restrained to a 4-point board as a consequence for pulling the fire alarm. It's not okay. And the fact that people are doing this, sending their kids to this place, and they're going, but it's love. But it's love that we're sending our kids here. If you love your child, would you really do that to them? I don't think if you love your child, you would be okay with this happening. Let's go to behavioral rehearsal lessons. In a behavioral rehearsal lesson, a resident is provoked, tricked, or coerced into exhibiting a target behavior, eating non-food items or destruction of property, so that the target behavior may be punished. So imagine luring someone in under false pretenses so that you can shock them. If the resident refuses to perform the target behavior, they are punished for non-compliance. So if you recognize cognitively, go, hey, they want me to eat a corner of a cardboard box. And you go, I'm not going to eat that. That's not food. Now you're getting shocked because you didn't listen to them. But if you eat the cardboard box, you get shocked because you're not supposed to eat cardboard boxes. You lose either way. The only thing it teaches you is to put yourself permanently in fight or flight mode. It only teaches you to mask, to behave a certain way, to appear the way the staff wants you to be. This sounds like a fucking free-for-all for masochists. Let's finish the sentence, I guess. So they are punished for non-compliance. But if they perform the target behavior, then they are punished more harshly for breaking the rules. There is no way for a resident to escape punishment. The resident is repeatedly challenged to perform the behavior, and the lesson does not end until they sit perfectly still for 10 minutes. There's at least 9 people that we know of that were subjected to this shit. Then finally, they have their last section they call rewards, which probably aren't used often. In addition to punishments, residents of the center are given the opportunity to earn rewards. State reports have found that despite the institution's claims, its rewards programs are minimal. Things considered rewards at the JRC may include verbal praise, the opportunity to look out a window, and sometimes food. A child who cries is not to be given attention, as this is considered a reward, and the child may be punished for crying. That's what they vibe with. One reward that a resident may win is the opportunity to visit the Big Reward Store. The Big Reward Store contains a pool table and various arcade games, and the only place in the center that residents may socialize freely. Again, to go over the reason why this is being unbanned is because the DC Circuit courts overturned it because they said the FDA is prohibited from regulating the practice of medicine, leaving that to the states. Which means that federally it cannot be banned, which means the states have to decide if they're going to allow this type of, I don't even want to call this treatment, this type of torture, or not allow it. And since JRC is located in Massachusetts, it's very clear that the state of Massachusetts is okay with this behavior. JRC is still operating right now in 2021, and overturning this ban probably just gave them even more of a license. So just keep that in mind.